Entertainment sources predicted that the death of Whitney Houston, which happened so recently, would definitely overshadow Adele's comeback at the 54th Grammy Awards. Were they right? Hi, I'm Jess of WreckedRadio, and the death of Whitney Houston this year was not overlooked at the Grammys, but there were a lot of other great things to focus on when it came to the performances and awards of the whole night. The show opened with some awesome performances by the boss, Bruce Springsteen and Bruno Mars, who both in their own way totally rocked out the stage. Bruce Springsteen, of course, he brought his classic E Street Band kind of rock vibe, some similar that he brought to the Super Bowl, and Bruno Mars decked the stage out in gold as he danced to one of his hits and sang brilliantly. Some reunions and collabs included Maroon 5 and Foster the People coming together to introduce or open for the Beach Boys and their classic tunes. I love this performance from all of them. It was great to see the Beach Boys, who I think look like everybody's grandfathers, but they sound exactly like they did in the 60s, and it was amazing to hear and see such a classic band with some of our new performers that we all revere, most of us revere, coming together. Also, Coldplay and Rihanna kind of melded their songs together. Rihanna sang We Found Love in her new blonde duo that everybody's so excited to talk about. And Coldplay did some of their songs, including their hit Every Teardrop is a Waterfall, in classic Coldplay fashion. But one of my favorite performances of the night was the staple rock performance, and this year it was Foo Fighters. They did a couple performances, including Walk, and they did a mashup at the end that included a remix by deadmau5. This year, one of the biggest moments, anticipated moments of the year, was Adele's comeback after her throat surgery, and she sang her very famous Rolling in the Deep. I asked my boyfriend, is it kind of my imagination, or does she sound a little different? But we both agreed that they were probably, she was probably watching her voice, trying to not overwork it so soon after the surgery, but she killed it, and it was amazing. Another exciting performance of the night was Nicki Minaj and her exorcism of Roman, including a clip where she was possessed, or she was the demon, or Roman was, sorry, Roman, one of her characters that she uses as kind of a voice when she does her rapping. The stage was adorned with Catholic, kind of twisted imagery of stained glass and altar voice. I love Nicki's theatrics, her concepts, but when it comes to performance, she doesn't concentrate as much on her voice or her rapping, which I guess is kind of hard with all that movement, but her performance always seemed to be half and half that way. And finally, Sir Paul McCartney did a Valentine's promo from his new CD, and he also did a Beatles closing number. It was the closing to Abbey Road, which was Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, the end. And he was joined by Dave Grohl and Bruce Springsteen as they closed out the show. And when it came to awards, who cleaned up but Adele herself? She took home Record and Pop Performance of the Year for Rolling in the Deep and Best Album of the Year for 21. She got very teary-eyed at the end, and it was so fantastic to see such a talented performer take home these awards. But one of the biggest shockers of the night was the winner for New Artist, and it happened to be Bon Iver. For some reason, I always think Bon Iver was the underdog in every single category, but he got to take it home, even though Bon Iver has been around since 2008 or 9. He looked very out of place when he was trying to give his speech on stage, but no one, I don't think this year, was more deserving of such an award. The album was beautiful, and he has been one of my favorite artists for years. And finally, Foo Fighters took home Boku Rock Awards for Walk and their album Wasting Light. And Dave Grohl gave one of the best speeches of the entire night, where he focused on saying that he was so glad that Foo Fighters was recognized for having a human element in their music. They made this album in Dave's garage. For such an acclaimed band, to have made such a raw, amazing album. He said music isn't supposed to sound perfect, it's supposed to have the soul and the in the work put into it that a band always has for years before computers overtook so much of the producing. So that was amazing. You know, I was kind of reading from my seat on the couch. Some other awards that weren't actually announced in the show, but were won by some of our favorite artists, was in the duet section, Tony Bennett and the late Amy Winehouse won for Body and Soul, and a lot of people's favorite Skrillex won for Dance and Electro album. Also, Best Hard Rock and Metal Performance went to Foo Fighters and their song White Limo, and the Best Alternative Album went to Bon Iver again. And Louis C.K., my favorite comedian, won the Best Comedy Album, so I guess that counts. So I guess I was pretty pleased with most of the wins. It was a pretty fantastic show. It was a very long show. Tell me what you guys thought of the show. Was it a snooze fest? Were there good performances? What were your favorite moments? Kanye wasn't there, so it wasn't apt to be too terrible. But you guys can always pipe it in the comments below and subscribe, like, and, you know, to keep the show up and running and bigger and better than ever. So thank you guys. Peace, love, rock and roll.